In the reading that follows this video, so just below this video in the same page, what I do is I describe the difference or the difference in the relationship and the importance of some words like space, direction, path, and trajectory. So space, let me describe what I mean by that. You might immediately think outer space, but really we can just talk about the space in your bedroom or the space in your kitchen or the space in your entire house, where you have the space of your bedroom in one section of it, and then the space in the kitchen also in a different section, right? But space can also mean outer space. Physicists imagine objects moving around in a map. And every scientist uses the same map because the idea is every scientist, every person, we're all in the same universe, and that universe is all in the same map. We imagine it just being the same big space. And another word for this very sort of holistic sense of map is all of the space. And so these various objects like people, stars, planets, atoms, individual electrons, oceans, so all of these objects, you can imagine them moving around in space. In the reading below this video, what I do is when I wrote the reading, right, I wrote that, and it said, and while I was trying to think of some way to get students to think about things moving around in space, a car drove past my house. So that was the example that I ended up writing about. And so when you go to read that, hopefully right after you view this video, you will be introduced or reintroduced to this point of view perspective that I described in the last page. And in comparison, you get introduced to thinking about a car driving past me while I'm sitting inside of my house, and thinking about words like trajectory, speed, and another really important word, direction, for a car. And, as an aside, in my story, if you think about the motion of me, what's interesting is my trajectory is really boring. That is, if you keep track of where I am in that kitchen, or actually it's a dining room, I think I say. But here I am. And as the clock ticks forward in time, this is where I remained during that time I was writing that little story. But while that was happening, there was another object that at some earlier point in time was here on this side of my house and may have been moving in that direction. And a little bit later in time, they were here moving in this direction. And then a little bit later in time, they are here instead, moving in this direction. And interestingly, I think I also described that for a small moment in time, they stopped their car at a stop sign, right? So along this trajectory, the car traveled and had different speeds at different times, including a point in time at, actually probably a full few seconds of time where their car speedometer actually read 0. And there was times at which their directions changed. And then you can also keep track of times during which there were speed ups and slowdowns. There must have been a slowdown to come to rest at the stop sign, and then a subsequent speed up to gain motion again, right? While they were making this turn. And maybe they continued to speed up, or they continued to speed up to a certain point, and then they just kept the same speed for a little while, right? And this is the sense in which we are talking about motion on a map. And that whole time, I didn't experience any speed ups or slowdowns. My motion stayed constant. My speed was always 0. And the direction of motion, since I didn't have any motion, I didn't really have a direction to describe that I was moving in. And my trajectory was really boring. My path was really boring. I just stayed here.